I feel like energy is not something that we as consumers typically think of, particularly where it comes from. If we want electricity, it's there. If we want heating, it's there. If we want AC, etc., it's all there. And all you have to do is flip a switch most of the time. But where does it come from? And where does it come from, particularly in regards to Michigan? Michigan, like its many other states, still get the majority of their energy from coal and natural gas. Both of these forms of energy production are well known to contribute to global warming through the production of harmful emissions, although more recently they have been getting a significant percentage of their energy from their three nuclear power plants. These power plants generate so much electricity that as of 2020, they produce even more than the coal-fired plants that were previously Michigan's primary energy source. So Michigan makes up a huge portion of its energy from coal and natural gas, which, as we know, are both unsustainable and non-renewable resources, which contribute to global warming via harmful emissions like methane. So the question is, what can we do to replace that portion of energy production here in Michigan? And there are a few contenders for non-renewable energy sources that can produce that much energy, one of them being hydroelectric. With its abundance of freshwater lakes and rivers, Michigan seems like a perfect place for hydroelectric dams. As of right now, Michigan has more than 50 conventional hydroelectric dams, the largest of which is a pump storage plant on the shores of Lake Michigan. While hydroelectric energy production is emissionless, it is known to cause damage to environmental habitats. This includes harming water quality and obstructing fish migrational patterns, both of which are key to a healthy ecosystem. Despite this, I believe hydropower has its place in the future of Michigan and could, with the help of other renewable energy sources, eventually replace Michigan's reliance on coal and natural gas. Michigan's Great Lakes are not only useful for hydroelectric energy production, but also a relatively new form of wind energy known as offshore wind. Now, offshore wind is generally known to be the better alternative to onshore, providing many of the same benefits, being emissionless and not consuming any fresh water, as well as producing more energy than onshore due to the larger surface area of the open ocean or Great Lake that you can then build larger wind turbines. Research done during the Obama administration found that unlocking the Great Lakes offshore wind energy potential could produce more than 700 gigawatts of energy, which is roughly one-fifth of total offshore wind potential in the US. Unfortunately, wind energy in general still is weather dependent, which can be an issue when winds aren't not as turbulent as we'd like them to be. The UK, for example, has invested heavily into offshore wind, being the backbone of its renewable energy portfolio, producing roughly 25% of the nation's electricity on average. But since the wind in the North Sea has recently stopped blowing as hard as it normally would this year, this number has dropped all the way to a staggering 7%. So this is a testament as to why you don't put all of your renewable energy eggs in one basket, so to speak. Now, many of the renewable energy sources I just covered have certain weaknesses to them. And these weaknesses, while notable, can be covered by other renewable energy sources. So, for example, if we can't produce enough energy from solar, then we'll have wind. If we don't have enough energy from wind, then we'll have nuclear as a backup and so on. And Michigan's very fortunate because it's in a perfect location for a lot of these renewable energy sources to function, like hydroelectric, like solar, like wind, or offshore wind. And because of this, it's entirely possible for a state like Michigan to become 100% carbon neutral and not have to rely on more archaic energy sources like coal plants or natural gas.